it's James with Net News Legend. We're sitting here with Kasper Wabinski and we're talking about transit routes in Southern Ontario. Kasper, you're looking at new routes in Southern Ontario. What do our readers and viewers need to know?
Well, we're going to be starting routes in Grey County from Owen Sound to Wyerton and Tubermorley and most likely Sable Beach. We'll be looking at starting a route from Owen Sound to Barrie, and we'll be looking at a route from Owen Sound through Shelburne to Orangeville to Brampton. And we'll hopefully have those launched by the next 3, 4, 5 months.
Now, you've got routes all over Northern Ontario.
And Manitoba.
And into Manitoba. Where are you all going into Southern Ontario? What's the big term goal here?
Well, currently we have a route from Owen Sound to Guelph, so the intent is to rebuild a network of buses that can serve underserved markets or markets that a full-size bus can't serve, and even markets where there is a need for a full-size bus, where we'll break it down into multiple small buses, and these smaller buses will offer more frequency options, so you have more choice of schedule. And we're implementing and investing quite heavily in technology so that our software, which is cloud driven, can support customer experience interaction with the company, which is us, and allow the drivers to efficiently operate the vehicle through the cloud technology so the customers get a better product at the end. So for example, you'll know when the bus is going to arrive, how far it's away, live tracking. You're going to know your seating situation, your purchase histories, your customer loyalty rewards. You're going to be able to purchase tickets with one-click buys. You're going to be able to purchase tickets for friends and family and kids through your account, so you don't have to worry about how are you going to get your son or your daughter a ticket if they have no cash on them. You don't have to EMT them. You can just buy them a ticket and assign it for them. And it's all going to be done on a mobile system or the website.
So you must have politicians and mayors and councillors in cities all across Southern Ontario pounding on your door to get this amazing service coming into their communities.
No, not really.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Like, we've had Greyhound disappear across Western Canada and Thunder Bay, and you've been picking those routes up and making really good ways for people to get around. You're telling me that there's politicians in Ontario that don't want to support a free enterprise company?
The only community that was really happy to hear about us expanding was Pickle Lake. All the other communities have not made contact with us, or some communities outright said they don't want us there. For example, Sioux Lookout. Mayor made that clear to us a few years ago, and some other communities have refused to cooperate with us, and they're starting their own bus companies with public funds to compete with us. So obviously there's something fishy going on here, because we're trying to make sure that public tax dollar doesn't get spent on something that can be done through private funds, but somehow councils and administrations are justifying spending public money when it's unnecessary.
Now, I thought, we've got Premier Doug Ford was elected with a majority government, and his campaign mantra was that Ontario's open for business. Are you having any help from the government making this happen?
Well, from the Ontario government, we have positive response. We've been working with Greg Rickford for the last year, trying to find a way to meet the needs of Ontario in general, and that's why I made a promise to Greg Rickford. And through my promise to Greg Rickford, I made a promise to Ontario that I would find a way to rebuild a very effective, easy to use, affordable, reliable network for Ontarians. So hopefully our cooperation with the Ontario government will continue in a positive way, and hopefully Doug Ford can keep his promise of being open for business, and hopefully we can achieve some kind of agreement on some assistance on how we can maybe get a one-time grant or something to help us jumpstart the expansion and the routes. But in a short time till as of today, we're all fully self-funded.
So have you had conversations directly with the mayors of these communities that are telling you they're not interested in bus service?
Well, I had a conversation with the mayor of Sioux Lookout, and the ones from Owen Sound. No, I did not have a conversation with them, just because they put up barriers to do that, and the barriers were the RFP programs they put out, and these RFPs were set up in a way where they were not realistic with the budgets they had. So naturally, nobody qualified for the Owen Sound RFP, and the same thing happened with Grey County. Nobody qualified, like multiple different applicants. So now they have the excuse to negotiate with whoever they want, vendor of choice, because there was no compliant RFP, request for proposal. So now they're setting up insider deals with whoever they decide they want to work with and whoever they're friends with.
Do you think it's a corrupt way of running a government?
Well, I think there's a lot of corruption at the municipal level, and we've been encountering that in different areas right across Ontario and the country. The municipalities get a lot of autonomy to operate independently from Ontario oversight, and the Municipal Act is not being enforced, or it's not being strictly legislated or properly worded to prevent some of these kind of actions. For example, there's nothing against the municipality setting up an RFP that does not meet compliance. So for example, let's say there's multiple applicants that submit RFPs. Well, instead of adjusting the RFP and adjusting the expectations to what's reasonably possible for the funds available, they will go out and use as an excuse to negotiate vendor of choice. And at the end of the day, that vendor of choice ends up dictating what's possible and what's not possible anyway. So the original RFP gets watered down to whatever the negotiations resulted behind closed doors. So we were not invited to those negotiations because I'm not from Owen Sound or from Grey County or from some of these municipalities, and I don't have friends and connections there necessarily. I have maybe friends and connections other places, but not in those. So when I'm trying to build a regional network, I'm constantly encountering issues with municipalities trying to drive their own politics on a micro regional level and preventing the general regional vision of transportation being implemented. So some communities are friendly. Cobourg is very friendly. Some other municipalities are very friendly, but there's a lot of them that are not friendly to what we're doing, and probably the same thing happens in other industries in Ontario.
Are you going to ever give up?
No, I'm too determined. I made a promise. We're going to fulfill the promise, and whatever it takes, we're going to build it with our funds, whether they want to work with us or they don't want to work with us.
This is James with Net News Ledger. We've been talking to Kasper Wabinski, who's determined that Ontario should be open for business.
Thank you.